going on, Jerome's? Lost in all the craziness of the Minnesota Vikings at the trade deadline, as well as the Jerome Ezekiel Cousins injury, is that still a game on Sunday as the Vikings 4-4 wanting some more, winners of three of the last four. That's not it. That's not right. 4 of the last 5. Nailed it. Actually, 3 of the last 4 is accurate too. Anyways, the Vikings season ain't over. JJ's coming back soonish, as well as the defense is good to go. Offensive line is cooking, and Jaren Hall is now going to be the man at the center of the Vikings offense. The rookie 5th-round pick out of BYU, a little bit more mature, a little bit older rookie coming in at 25, but he's got a great arm, he's got great mobility, he's got great humbleness and leadership, and I think that he does have a very good shot to prove that he's the guy moving forward. And he met with the local media jackals on Wednesday, along with Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, and want to go over a couple things. So pictures from our guy Will Bragg at Sports Illustrated. The Vikings starting quarterback this weekend. All right, so if you're with someone, do you remember the first date? Is that vivid in your mind? This is what that feels like. I feel like, I don't know, like if Jaren Hall becomes a Vikings quarterback for the next 15 years, I'll be happy. I'll be happy, man. Dane Mizutani, Pioneer Press. Jaren Hall is impressive in the way he carries himself. He just talked to reporters for about 10 minutes and seemed comfortable in his role. Very weird not having Kirk Cousins talk on a Wednesday, though. And if you look back, Jaren Hall, any media that he's done locally, as well as his time at BYU, he's very well spoken. He's very humble. He's very mature, and he's very poised, and I think that carries over to the field too. And yeah, I mean, he's a rookie, so he's going to have his Charlie skedaddle moments, as evidenced by the the strip sack on 3rd down. Although Kevin O'Connell didn't really do him any favors, but I think that will carry over. I don't think that the moment will be too big for him. He's played in big football games when he was back at BYU, and also. It's funny. So we tweeted out just a highlight film of him at BYU, and most of the replies were BYU fans being like, "Oh, I miss him. I should call him." Sort of deal, man. Alec Lewis, the Athletic, speaking of BYU, TJ Hawkinson on Jaren Hall's maturity, quote, "I mean, he went to BYU, so he's wise." that needs to be the new motto for Brigham Young University. Went to BYU, so he's wise, but in Latin. Or whatever, or I don't know. Maybe that's T.J. Hawkinson, Iowa City education talking. Who knows, man? Who knows? Kevin Seifert, ESPN. So, original tweet. Jaren Hall said he had been texting with Kirk Cousins throughout the week. Cousins has given strategic and morale-boosting advice. Hall said, "Do you think Cousins uses emojis? If so, what do you think is his first one? His number one emoji? Probably." I would say, I don't know, either the white thumbs up or the smiley face with the tears. I don't know. Seifert. Well, but it's good that he's in communication with Kirk. And that's something that Kirk is going to do, and something that they talked about, where, I mean, Kirk's just not going to be in a cave rehabbing off by himself with specialists. Like, he's going to be in the team facility. I'm sure he'll be on the sidelines. Hell, like Beasley said, Kirk is probably going to be wearing his helmet on the sideline with the communicator so he can hear everything. It's going to be great. But either way, Jaren Hall is going to have a lot of really good resources in that quarterback room. Nick Mullins is a veteran. Josh Dobbs is a veteran, even though he doesn't know the offense yet. Kirk Cousins is there. Mannion, if they keep him, is an asset off the field. And then Seifert continues. For some rookie quarterbacks, the media and other public responsibilities would be the hardest and most nerve-wracking part of the week. I promise you that was not the case for Jaren Hall. Very polished. That was the least of his concerns. And that's one of the benefits of having an older rookie, of Jaren Hall being 25. He spent 2 years on a Mormon mission. He played baseball, was a 2-year starter for the Cougars, and he's used to media responsibilities. And I think that the maturity helps. I mean, he's not a 21-year-old pimple-faced kid who, just struck it hot in 3 years in college and then came out, and then all of a sudden is getting this money, all of a sudden is getting all these other distractions. And I do think that, Hall being... just getting into the psychology of things, I think Hall being mature, being older, being married, I think this does all help him in a weird way in the grand scheme of things. And then Alec Lewis, the Athletic again. Vikings quarterback Jaren Hall, speaking to reporters today, mature, polished, and knows what's expected of him, says it's important to him to continue what team has done for the last few weeks. And this is all well and good, but I think that this will be a correlation. I think that his maturity and polished and poiseness, not a word, but his poise will carry over to the field. And if it doesn't, like if Jaren Hall is poo-poo on the field, he can always work in Vikings PR. There you go. The next chapter. Speaking of the next chapter, so the Vikings have a new chapter at left guard after trading Ezra Cleveland to the Jaguars. New left guard, Dalton Risner. Come on up for the Risner. Will Raggets go. Dalton Risner said the Vikings want to honor Kirk Cousins by going out and getting a win this week. How about the rest of the weeks? How about win, no matter what? He says he still feels he has a lot to prove even after Ezra Cleveland was traded. I do wonder what would have happened if Ezra didn't get hurt. I guess Risner still on the bench, but Ezra injured his foot. Risner came in and was just as good and maybe even an improvement at left guard. And the Vikings offensive line is rounding into one of the best in the league, which is going to be really important with a rookie quarterback behind them. And then Will Raggets again. Kevin O'Connell says they're preparing Jaren Hall to be able to play with a quiet mind on Sunday. From his own experience as a player, the last thing he wants Hall to do is think about the big picture aspect of his start and what it could mean for his career. Yeah, that would be the bad way to go about it. Hey, Jaren, if you fail, you probably won't get another shot again. So this is it. This is your chance to make family tree changing money. But if you F up, you're done. You're donezo. Josh Dobbs taking over. But no pressure, buddy. No, but the whole thing is Kevin O'Connell, Wes Phillips know that they can't run the same offense as they did with Kirk Cousins, both in the verbiage, the checks, and everything. And also, Jaren Hall being able to run, I think, does add an extra dimension. And I think the Vikings are going to run more of a simplified offense, but to start at least until they trust Jaren Hall more and more. But like we said, Jaren Hall, if you go look at his BYU tape, went through a lot of progressions. Like, I think that he is a mature quarterback. I think that he's not going to shy away from this opportunity. And looking back at preseason, you almost have to throw everything out because the offensive line play was so bad. But I'm actually very hopeful about what Jaren Hall can bring to the table. And Kwesi, Raggets again. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah says he just spoke with Kirk Cousins, who was already talking about being back for OTAs next year, whenever that might be. And that would sync up with the rehab timetable. And it's interesting where Kevin O'Connell has been very clear that he wants Kirk Cousins back. Kwesi hasn't really said anything, but that's the Kwesi thing. But Kirk saying that he is already talking about being back for OTAs. He's a free agent, right? And I think that I think that it's almost a guarantee that Kirk Cousins will be back in purple next year. And with his injury, it may dampen his free agent prospects, so it may even be back at a reduced rate. Who knows? But I think unless Jaren Hall comes out and just balls the F out and proves that he's the future franchise guy, I do think that Kirk will be back next year. I really do. Then finally, Damian Zatani. Kwesi just talked to reporters for 15 minutes. He went over his process at the trade deadline and mentioned that a few players reached out to him saying they felt good about, about where the Vikings were headed. That played into his decision to stand pat and keep going. Now, the Kwesi haters would be like, oh, he's just listening to players now. But no, so the Vikings were buyers and sellers at the deadline. Josh Dobbs makes all the sense in the world, and I don't think it's an aspersion on Jaren Hall. I think it says what they think about Nick Mullins' back issue. But even at full strength, I think that Dobbs is an improvement over Nick Mullins. And since it's basically nothing in terms of compensation, that's perfect for the Vikings. And also, I like what they got for Ezra, even though, yes, playing around with depth, it's always a little bit iffy right now, but the Vikings didn't trade Daniil. They didn't trade JJ. They didn't trade whoever, right? So the Vikings, they're all still in on this season. And even without Kirk and even without JJ for at least one more week, this is still rounding into a very damn good football team. That defense is approaching top 10 status. The O-line is great. Addison's a star. JJ's coming back. Hawkinson's earning his dough. And I think Jaren Hall is walking into a fantastic situation where he does have good protection. He does have weapons. He does have a defense, and hopefully the running game gets going. He actually could help out with that. And also, there's not a ton of expectations on him. Right? And so I think that it's a complete free roll for Jaren Hall, and I think that the team realizes that, hey, we won 3 games without Justin Jefferson, the best non-quarterback in the league. Hey, we can win games without Kirk Cousins, even though Kirk was balling out. Next man up. And I love and respect that mentality. And this team's going to be tough. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to win the whole thing, but all of these lessons that they learned this year are going to carry over to the future of finding a way to win, not complaining, not whining. What's next? What's the next game? What's the next drive? What's the next snap? That's what they're going to do, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Jaren Hall, Kevin O'Connell, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah met with the local media jackals and thoughts on their thoughts. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.